very special guest. We've got Paul Boblett in studio. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm very excited to talk about all the different things that you're doing.
I'm here for that.
You're going to love this because I'm going to move this. As a lot of folks will know, I also live stream this, and I'm trying to get someplace where I'm not seeing just the mic.
I could just do this.
Just hold it.
There you go.
that won't get old to you at all.
I
Perfect.
Say, I see a lot. I see where your daughter gets us.
Professionalism, yes.
Yep.
Well, let's start off with what we said we wanted to talk about. That's the XTC show, and we'll kind of backpedal from there.
We'll backpedal from here.
Yeah.
So I'm here to implore you all to come join us on Thursday, the 24th of October at the Parkway Theater for the 9th annual tribute to XTC, the weird British band.
9 years, I think that's awesome.
It is. It's amazing. We missed 3 years during the pandemic.
Okay.
And bringing it back, I'll speak into the microphone, was laborious. Some of the band members had moved, some had moved on. So we kind of changed things up and put together a smaller version of the show. There's been years where there's been 25 extra musicians and singers all trading places on stage. And that, after a few years of that, it became total chaos. And I said the band's going to be the band. There was still some changing around, but it wasn't like the early years. But we had, I think we had 5 singers last year, and it was a phenomenal show at the Turf Club.
It was a lot of fun.
Felt really good to get back on stage with it, even though the stages, we were all, bumper cars.
Yeah, on each other's shoulders.
Yeah, little tight.
On the shoulders of giants,
so,
quite literally with Paul.
So this year, we're moving to the Parkway. We've got a great big, expansive stage and a much expanded list of people who are in the band and getting on stage with us to sing. And I would actually, if you're curious about who, I have a list here because there's so many of them.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, how is this a smaller number? You have
it's
so
not.
Many
this
people.
This is a big one because we said we've got this big stage. We've actually got dedicated background singers, 2 keyboard players at times, and then Dave Foley on horns at times as well. So it's a big thing. So I'll just run down this all-star list. It's Abby Wolf, Al Church, Amy Meyer from Intoxicats, and Cartwheel, band of the 90s with Pete Lack. I also played with Pete. I think Amy was after me. I mentioned Dave Foley. David J. Russ, local rock star, plays with the El No and Absolutely Fabulous and all these. I mean, he's
Sound guy extraordinaire,
exactly. Yeah, that too. My daughter Faith, who's been part of the show for forever.
Yeah.
Janie Winterbauer for the first time, which is really fun.
Oh, great.
Al Church also. He and Janie have been like, and then illness or something didn't make it work in years past. I think Al was going to do it in 2020, and we had to, bail on the show.
Yeah.
Jenny Russ, David's lovely bride, and also singer phenomenal.
Yeah.
Joe Kellen from the band Products band.
Awesome. Yes.
Super cool band.
Yeah.
Love them.
Very fun to see.
My bandmate from Zeppo, John Eller.
Nice.
Rock for Pussy and the DTs and Paradox, his 80s hair metal band, which some people know about.
Somebody had recommended one of their songs for the, our theme is XQZ, and I couldn't find anything on Spotify. And I thought Paradox, I hadn't heard that name since I was in a school uniform. I'll put it that way.
The last time we played the
That's
Parkway,
awesome.
Somebody showed up with the vinyl for Johnny to sign.
Amazing.
It was really cool. It was a very kind of a touching, it's like 40 years ago.
Gosh,
so, John Fields, producer extraordinaire, and bass player extraordinaire. Munson, our good friend John Munson, who always brings a great show.
What I love, we interviewed him during COVID when we would do Zoom interviews.
Oh yeah,
he was in his car the whole time. It was bedtime for his kids. He's just in the driveway.
Yeah, they were having,
There's something.
I'm gonna go see Wits tonight.
I'm envious.
It was last night and then tonight, and I scored a ticket, so I'm going just by my table for one.
And on the off chance that somebody listening doesn't know about Wits.
It's a prairie home companion, a little bit baudier and a little funnier and not quite so dry. It's dry, but it's not like Garrison Keillor dry.
Yeah. Right.
And it's phenomenal music. I don't know who the guest is. I haven't heard. It's I tried to wrestle it out of a few people that are in the show, and they
is it a surprise?
Munson would not let it out.
Oh, that's awesome.
So good for him. I don't let the set list out for this because I learned. Don't do that. Gotta give people. There's got to be some surprises in life, right?
Yeah.
Well, and you never want to say what you're going to name the baby before because you get a lot of people's opinions on that name.
Yeah.
After it's done, it's done.
I'll continue. John Robinson, who's been in the scene for years as a sound man, and he's a big XTC, and he was with Beat the Clock, and when I played with Matt Wilson in the '90s. He was with Sam I Am, my band, another '90s band of mine, and so he's been, and he does the Shabby Road Orchestra as well. He's with them. Nice. Jordan Myers.
We love Jordan.
Jordan's awesome, and I've gotten to know her over the last couple of years, which has been really great. Ken Chastain, local music producer, but a terrific musician, can kind of play anything. Matt Kirkwald and Ken and Matt have been with this from the beginning. We're kind of a three-legged stool. If one of us doesn't do the show, it probably doesn't go off if the three of us aren't involved. So I big kudos to them. Nathan Neshi, who was with the Collective Unconscious up in St. Cloud area.
Okay.
And he's a terrific singer. And I don't know if he lives here now or anyway. Me, my former Sam I Am bandmate Rick Meyer, who's the Intoxicats guy. Rob Meany on keys this year. I don't know if you're familiar with Rob. He's been around a long time.
Yeah.
I met him in the '90s. We didn't know him at all, but he had big bands. They'd sell out the caboose. They would do, he's a singer-songwriter.
Yeah, I remember.
He's continuing to put out music.
Awesome.
And I somehow talked him into playing keyboards.
Wow, that's fantastic.
He's not singing this year. He's just playing keyboards. Okay. He's an amazing pianist. So my bandmate from Faith's band and A Little Too Short to Be Stormtroopers, Seth Doohan, one of my fave peoples. Okay. Tom Scott from the Shabby Roads, Beat the Clock, and many other bands. Tambuca, I think he had this thing Tambuca with Dean Vaccaro, DJ Dean Vaccaro, and Joe Patini. It's a thing in the '90s where they would do live music and DJ. I mean, it was kind of and Dean I think Dean also played bass in that. And then drummer Walter Powell as well, who's kind of rounds out I went alphabetical first names, so have not can't play favorites here.
The librarian in me loves that. That's fantastic. You really have generations of people. I mean, literally with your daughter.
Yeah, with my daughter.
Faith, but you've got folks from the Products. You've got folks from Paradox. I mean,
we're
from Paradox.
I needed to, and I'm still. I would love for any young singer or a younger musician that would like to be involved in this to contact me. You can find me on social media. Everybody's stuff is everywhere, so just Google me or whatever, and you'll find me. But please reach out to me. Always looking for young singers who would like to do this. And I saw Products, and I'm like, they fit.
That energy.
And James at First Avenue also recommended the band to me, and a few others, and I couldn't talk the others into it. But I really want to try to young up the show, because the music is timeless.
Yeah.
The subject matter is timeless. It's pretty liberal, and that aligns with me. Mm-hmm. Melt the Guns, all these very socially conscious songs that don't seem like they were written 30, 40 years ago. No. They're timeless, and that to me is a big draw. And I see now, I've had people that have attended the show, and now they're bringing their kids to the show. So not just the band is generational, the audience is becoming generational as well, and it's amazing to me once people listen to the music and listen closely. They were like, "Wow!" I mean, it's amazing music, but it's still timeless, and that's it. That's
kind of for better or for worse. I mean, the sound is awesome, but at one time a lot of this about apartheid and about
It's nearly Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
No thugs in our house.
Right.
It's all about, you know, bad apples and bad, what's the word, bad actors.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah,
so,
and now it's...
The industrial military, you know, generals and majors.
Yeah.
Oh, there's just so much topical stuff that's there, and their lyrics are smart and snarky and funny. And of course the music is wild and angular and nerdy. So people ask me what it sounds like, and I kind of say it's like the Beatles meets Steely Dan without the jazz. You know, Steely Dan's got a lot of jazz chords and weird inversions and all that, but it's complicated like that. But it's not that. It's not jazz at all. It's rock.
Funny because I'm trying to think. Yeah, how would you describe if it's and they have such a different sound between different. You know, Nigel sounds so different from
Yeah, they went from noise punk to fully orchestral at the end. The second to last record was all orchestra music, and it was beautifully arranged. And it's adulting as musicians, growing and seeing songwriting just grow. And they were afforded, which the record industry doesn't really do anymore, but they were afforded some leeway and some patience to grow an audience, which to me is the thing that's missing right now, is a label taking a chance on somebody and letting them grow over 3 or 4 records, as opposed to your first single.
Right.
The 3 minutes that you recorded 6 months ago did way better than what you put out last week, so we're done.
Mm-hmm. And we won't take you until you have 100,000 followers on some social media.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
The booking, all of it looks at that stuff. And I'm old. I'm 62. So I've been at this a long time. And to see the way it's shifted is disheartening. I get it. But it's for older artists. I mean, I record and write and record music, but I don't care about making money on it. That's not going to be my income. And so I don't really look at it like that way. But singers and songwriters now, if you don't, I mean, it's just such a game. And I feel for younger players now, because it's just so hard to gain a foothold. You can gain a foothold locally, but it used to be this kind of touring. You do stuff, you do your T-shirts and all that, and you'd tour, and you'd go to Iowa, and then you'd go to Madison, and then you'd go to Madison and Chicago, and then you go to Iowa and Kansas City, and you just expand this thing. But I don't know. I just don't know if I don't see that happening now for younger bands, or maybe younger bands just don't. It was a whole lot cheaper to live back then too.
Well, that is a huge part of it. I think you could just live on a lot less.
Yeah.
I think that's the difficult part.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't say the nice thing, but the flip side is we have performers of all ages.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have fans of all ages. You know, I don't want to sing a song about some 16-year-old birthday party. You know, feel a little, like a little creepy singing that song. You know what I mean? You just get to a point where you're kind of, heartache is heartache, and some of it is constant through life, but even just how you deal with it. So I think if you're going to have a wide range of audience members, which you better have if you think you're going to be booking in different places, because it turns out, you can afford a lot more beer than you could when you were 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
for better for sometimes drink is, and you buy merch, you buy merch and you buy the tickets and you do all of that sort of thing.
I think people, what I see is I think people are more willing to go on Bandcamp and drop $20 for a record, and at a show pay the $15, $20, $30 to get in, and then buy a coffee mug and a T-shirt and a key fob, or just to support.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows that nobody's making any money off Spotify or Apple Music or any of these streaming services, and the sound quality is terrible.
Yeah.
What you get online with streaming it's funny. YouTube is got about the best sound quality of the free type stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I subscribe to a couple of them, but I have to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's kind of.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you your favorite song by XTC, but what I'm going to ask is there one that you brought us some of in that should we play?
Yeah, I'd love for you to play. We during the quarantine times, we did a series of videos. I think there's 4 of them now, and we just released one. We finally finished one after 4 years. grimace, but it's done. And it turned out great.
Yeah.
So we just released that last week. I think it was Monday or Tuesday we released that.
It's great. It's a great video.
It is a great video.
We
have a YouTube channel. We're on all the social media. It's XTC, what is it called? Census Working Overtime, the XTC Tribute is how we go. And it's all out there. But yeah.
Okay, which side?
Complicated Game, which is off Drums and Wires, but we've kind of updated it a little bit.
Okay, here we go. Complicated Games with Paul Boblett on Mostly Minnesota Music, WMCN 91.7 FM in St. Paul. Ready?
I believe so.
I can talk.
I turned it way down. We're good.
Okay.
It's
It's
quieter
quiet.
in
It's
here.
really quiet at the
Well,
top.
and it's
We're still doing this though too, just so you know. Okay.
Now's the time to swear if you want to.
Fuck, I can fucking talk. Let me tell you. You get me going.
But I do like when you have all the different bands, because I remember seeing Al Church do the Radiohead tribute.
Yeah.
And I saw the Products guy
Yeah.
doing the keys, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like just the
So it's-
different people and how they feed off each other with different members. It was
Yeah.
really exciting.
It's
I
a really
love it.
cool thing, and there's a
Yeah.
really strange energy that
Yep.
happens, and it's it's 99% positive with this. We've had, Nate Dungan from Trailer Trash.
Uh-huh.
He gave me a very early advice because he's been involved with all these
Oh.
booking everything at the fair and doing tons of tribute
Yeah.
shows, and he said it's not a Minneapolis tribute show unless it's a bloodbath.
Yeah.
So I've only been caught. Only been chewed out a few times. It wasn't warranted, but in my eyes, but it's just a weird thing, hard to deal with, because there's petty BS that people hold on to. This show was formed over a group chat, and we talked about it, and we were like, this would be so cool, and I just happened to be the one that grabbed it, and there's somebody that's kind of mad about that.
Oh.
I'm like, well, but it wouldn't. But I know
Step
it
up or
wouldn't
step
happen.
back. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Every
exactly.
volunteer,
Volunteer.
Very often, I get a lot of helpful advice what I should do for the Women's March. I'm like, step up or step back.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you think I don't know I could do, just, yeah. Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
And then everybody has
It's
their
fine.
days.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I've learned the newspaper gave me very, very thick skin. I just don't. I've been called all sort. I mean, I lived in Trump country,
Yeah.
and it was we were called unpatriotic. We were called communists. We were called socialists. The people that were saying these things didn't even know what they didn't even know what they were.
It was a compliment.
Yeah, they didn't understand anything that they were saying. But the unpatriotic one, that one hurt. That one, because I fucking love this country. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But step off or step back.
Yeah,
goddamn.
I mean, that's
that
just was a misunderstanding their part of patriotism. Patriotism is being able to say what you think.
Yeah.
If you can say what you think, I can say what I think. That's
Yeah.
But no, if you think differently, that's un-American.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard, and it's gotten harder, and it's sad. But this is where we're at too. We just got to vote. That's about all we can do. And I'm also realizing at my advanced age that it's like, God, I was thinking about this a couple of years ago. I wonder if this is how my parents felt when they were my age now. Like, fucking world's crazy. I mean, the world's always been crazy. We just happen to know a lot more about it now.
This is a little more.
This is a little
We're
more,
talking
yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at the years. This is a once in a century kind of a crazy.
this
when you
is-
like it, but
1920s, this was all a thing. The Nazis,
Yeah.
the
fashion, the blue shirts in Ireland, there were just a lot. Yeah.
all the things, and the white, the genetic,
Oh, the eugenics that.
eugenics, which is Henry Ford and Donald Trump Sr. or Fred Trump. They were all pumping money into it, and see the same shit. And here we're looking at somebody who's running for president whose mentor was Roy Cohn, of all fucking people.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get. I mean, I've known that for years, and it's still having a hard time getting around my head. This is over.
That's
It just goes, not forever.
college radio. We'll play you the end. That should be our tagline. I love KPI mispronouncing names.
Okay.
Complicated game. And that is part of the XTC tribute show. And we have one of the masterminds here, Paul Boblett, the mastermind in studio.
Mastermind might be a little strong.
I thought it would hold you now.
Some people think I'm absolutely crazy. My wife for years thought, "This is what are you doing here?" And I will tell you one thing about the show, because one of the facets of the show that gets overlooked sometimes is that we do raise money for Pay It Forward Fund, which helps women who are undergoing cancer treatments with one-time cash assistance to pay rent, to pay a water bill, to put food on the table, a bus pass, whatever they need. And we've raised over $25,000 over the 8 years or 7 years. We didn't do it as a benefit the last time. We just were trying to get the show back together. So we just said we're just going to do this. But a portion of the proceeds of the show is going to help Pay It Forward this year, and I'm really excited about that. So, and the year that we had this big. We were talking in studio here, so I'll explain. We had a group chat, and that's kind of how this show formed, and I just happened to be the one that grabbed the ball and went with it. But I had the show kind of all mapped out in 2012, and my wife was diagnosed with cancer. And so I scrapped the show, and we brought it back a year later after things looked better for her, but as a benefit after seeing what people go through when they're getting treated for cancer. It's some of it's barbaric. A lot of people need help, and it's expensive. And so I'm really really proud of the fact that we've raised a lot of money, and we're going to do more this year. So it'll be a good thing. So think about that when you're at the show. We'll have a little QR code during the intermission up on the screen for people so they can donate money. And again, portion of the proceeds will go to that as well. So. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get someone with buckets going up and down that. I will volunteer.
Really?
Yeah, because I think that makes a huge difference.
I think it does too.
I would be happy to.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. No, and Mary McCoskey, she was on the board of the Minnesota Music Coalition when I was on the board. She was board chair for a while, and she has tabled for us.
Oh, very nice.
At the Turf Club in the past. Very nice. Yeah, she's great. And I haven't asked her, but I have to ask her now. I think she's too busy.
Well, and you could find somebody else who'd be happy to do it too.
But I appreciate that. That's wonderful. And yes, I will take you up on that.
Yeah, I mean, I was at a funny event one time, and I thought it was a fundraiser. It was it was a Thai community center somewhere in St. Paul, and they had all this beautiful food and everything. And I'm looking for where to, put some cash. Yeah. Nowhere. And I was like, this is amazing, but I really came to support, So you make it as easy as possible to let people support that way.
Yeah.
So
We've had, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, and cash sometimes is easy,
Yeah.
Many of us have grown up in different, certain religions are used to getting the basket in our face on a... Yeah. We know what to do.
I saw it this morning.
Oh, you're
that's right.
Yeah,
better than I am.
Yeah, I play at a church on Sunday, not every Sunday, but a lot of Sundays. Anyway, so we're super excited. It's going to be a fantastic. I think it could be the best ever, and the fact that it's seated is going to bring a new element to it.
Yes.
And so we're going to have to entertain. And one of the things that I want to make sure I do when I'm on the mic is that to let people know who these people perform with and what their projects are, because I think that's something that gets lost in some of these tribute shows. People are giving their time, and they need some props back. And so I think that's a way, and I think that that any way we can support people that do this kind of thing is going to be beneficial for everybody. So.
And the Parkway is made for 250 people on stage. It's a nice stage. It's a gorgeous stage. And you can see people wherever you sit.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people like to come to the turf and dance up front, but there are wings at the Parkway, and you can get up out of your seat and you can come down. Just don't stand in front of anybody. But you can come down on the wings. When I play there with Zeppo, there's always about 50, 60 people down in the wings right by the stage having a great time. So dance
I find
away.
if you just stand in the back too.
In the back
you
too?
can just dance
Yep.
as much as you want. So
Yep.
there's plenty of spaces for there.
Yeah.
Well, that transitions us nicely into talking about some of the other things you're doing, like Zippo.
Yeah, we're playing. I've got this. It's a fan band. I hate to call it a tribute band because we don't wear wigs. We don't wear costumes.
No, you don't need them.
We hate that stuff, to be honest. I get it, but I think, and I have friends that play in EL know, and I think that's a different animal.
Yeah.
That's a completely. It's a very tongue in cheek. They got jorts on. They've got these goofy wigs, and they have a number. Jeff Lynne 1, Jeff Lynne 2, Jeff Lynne 3. I think it's the shtick. The shtick really works, and they're so good. They're so good. It's kind of amazing. I went and saw them. Caught their second set at Lee's one year, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I don't know that many ELO songs. I knew every one of them. And it was just like song after. I'm like, this too? It was so good. Anyway. So, I have John Eller and Noah Levy and Terry Fisher and Mark Moraz and I have a band called Zeppo, and we love Led Zeppelin, and we're playing at the Green Room on the 18th, which is Friday night. It's coming up quickly. We're going to take a couple of months off, and then we had something popped up, so we grabbed it, and this is our last show of the year. We have a lot of fun. We're doing the show without Mark. He's booked.
Okay.
So we'll just be a 4-piece.
Okay.
So, but it's going to be great. And it's really, like I said, it's so fun for us. This is the music of our lives. We all grew up.
It's a super fun show. The
Yeah.
dancing is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all funky, super great, great playing, great songs, iconic riffs, and beats, and all the things that all the grand things that they did. We like to we emulate that. I don't think it's not a tribute show. We're fans, so we love doing it. Hasn't gotten old. It's 7 years. Today was our first ever gig at the Eagles Club, and we've played theaters across the Midwest, and we kind of have a home base of the Parkway and the Turf Club, but this is something new for us. We had an opening and an opportunity to play the Green Room, so come down, Girard and Lagoon, I think. It's in Uptown.
Yeah, in Uptown,
And don't fear Uptown. I mean, I think it's gotten a bad rap. I mean, I know it's... Neighborhoods go up and down in this city.
Do.
They always have.
They do.
And that's one thing that I don't mind about being old, is knowing that, this is all kind of... You just kind of have to ride the waves, and things go up and they go down, and they can change in a minute. And, I know there's a lot of construction there. I think that might be the big bugaboo for people now, is just like, I don't want to have to deal with the parking. But literally, there's parking right across the street off Lagoon.
Right.
There's a big ramp. And so parking is easy, and you're less than a block. You just basically walk across the street, and the elevator is right there. So it's perfect.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. I played on Friday night with my daughter Faith, her band, down in Rochester. We played at Thesis Beer Project, which is kind of a home away from home for us, and played the Sheldon Theater a couple of weeks ago down in Red Wing.
Fancy.
Yeah, very fancy. And then we're playing at the Turf Club. We're opening for Run Westy Run on the 2nd at the Turf Club. That's right. 2nd of November.
Yes.
I know.
And we have a show at the beginning of December. We're opening for the Flamin' O's at the Caboose.
Fun.
So we got two really. The Caboose is back, and I'm kind of excited to see.
That would be.
I don't know if it's going to be the same. I mean, I haven't been there since it's opened, but I know the suburbs are doing the big Halloween kind of grand reopening there. I don't know what happened to it though. Whiskey Junction was closed, and then the Caboose. Next thing you know, they're not doing shows, and I don't know if it's been renovated, or if there's new ownership, or just new management. I have no idea.
Part of me's like, why would you renovate it? You got so much space in there, that out back.
I know.
I mean, you can fix it up.
Yeah.
And
maybe they have. I hope they have. Who knows? Who's to
A
say?
coat of paint wouldn't go amiss.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
I know they moved. They did. I mean, back in the 90s, I was there once a week, playing or watching a band play, and they had those like bleacher
Yep.
They had like bleachers there so you could sit.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember we went to see Rhea Valentine with Wendy Lewis and Dave, her brother Dave, and this, the Picadors opening with Noah and Adam and Chris Lynch.
Nice.
And that was the night I met Noah. And I was like, who's the 50-year-old playing drums in the back? And it's this kid, he can't even grow a mustache. And crazy. Anyway, I've known him ever since. But I remember Joe, my wife, was pregnant with Faith.
Oh.
And we were listening, and Joe grabbed my hand and put it on her belly, and every time the kick drum hit, Faith would kick. So it was, she really responded to music. I'm not surprised.
Fantastic.
This is where she is now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it must be awesome to play music together.
I can't describe it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's doing when you do something with your kid that you both have a passion for. I think it's magic, and I know I've made it in the music business because I played the main room with my daughter.
That is amazing. I mean, that's...
Yeah, it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. It was right before the pandemic, and she got voted as one of the best.
It's one of the best new bands. I remember the show. Yeah.
And so we got a half hour on stage, and I remember she was really sick. She had a terrible cold. And just about threw up. We were right there at the garbage can. This is a thing for her. She's going to be mortified if she listens to this. But she used to.
You don't know what she said about you when she was on. Kidding.
That's true.
Sorry.
That's true. Probably traumatized.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Don't get Maggot even.
Yeah, but she used to barf before every show.
Oh.
She was in high school, especially. I remember there was she went to the arts high school. My daughter Kendra, who's a terrific, talented visual artist, also went there. And I'd be remiss without mentioning my super cool and awesome son, Trevor, and his wife, Jenny, and my new granddaughter, Hazel.
I was going to say, you got to get that one in.
I got to get all that in. But I remember Faith and Siri for Humbird.
Yep.
And another young lady, Hope, I think her name was, they had a trio called Girly Folk. And they would do these semi-annual concerts for the music kids, and they got up and did a medley of about 8 songs and didn't stop for almost a half hour.
Wow.
And you could hear a pin drop in the room. I've never seen high school kids professional musicians hold an audience like that it was mesmerizing, and they finished and everybody was just like, what just happened? It was that good.
Fantastic.
And it was really fun. So Siri and Faith are buds. They lived together for a while and have taken very divergent paths in the music business, where Siri's kind of a road hog and getting out there and touring as much as possible. And Faith is not. She likes her apartment. She likes her life and some separation between some balance. It's hard when you're
just got a pretty serious day job.
Yeah, really serious. Yeah, and it's really easy to burn out. But there's benefits to both. I mean, I was the other way. I was more like Siri when I was younger, and I couldn't wait to get out on tour. I couldn't wait to go. Let's go. 4 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Let's go. And now I'm kind of looking at it and going, we should go to Chicago. She's got some friends in Nashville.
Maybe Milwaukee on the way.
Yeah, and we actually talked about it. And I think she's starting to think about that, because she's got friends in Nashville who could set up a couple of shows down there and do a couple of things on the way down, and then go for a week and test the waters and see if. Because the rest of us in her band were with Steve Brantzeg and Seth, and Tim King. We've all kind of done some of that work, over the years, and Faith really hasn't. So I know she went out with the Crash Bandits and would do some stuff early on, but we'll see where that goes. I don't know. I'd love to go. It'd be fun. It's a really unique group of people, that band.
It really is.
And we've gotten
for
really
folks
good.
who don't know their pedigree, and tell us a little bit about the folks who are in it, because it's stellar.
It is, and I kind of pinch myself. It's my dear friend Steve Brantzeg, who I've become very close with over the last couple of years. Steve plays with the Suburbs and Dan Israel and Robert Wilkinson. He plays with everybody. He was in Bash and Pop with Tommy Stinson.
Right.
He was in The Phones. I think he was in Stickman for a while. He's been around forever. Like me, we're old, but this is what we do, and and we share that this is who we are. We can't stop doing this. This is just what we do. Whether we have day jobs or not, this is still perpetually what we do. He plays guitar, and then Seth doing the other guitarist. Seth plays with, Claire Doyle, the Little Too Short to Be Stormtroopers. Jaden James. I think he plays
General
with
Wiz.
General B and the Wiz. And live band karaoke first Thursdays at Inbound Brewing. Ooh. Please come. That's a crazy band. That's Jeremy Harvey from Cloud Cult and Kai Brewster, General B, and all the other things that Kai does. Kai's, I think Kai plays with Claire as well.
Yes.
And then,
the Turf Club, yes.
Yeah, and then Tim King is the drummer, and Tim came here. He's part owner of Franklin Drum Company, and came from like Church World, where he's got his own Spotify channel as a singer-songwriter.
Fantastic.
He's incredibly talented, and his drumming is he just brought some different life to the band. Brought a different vibe from the previous drummer, Alex. And Alex was great. It was just time. I think it was just time for that. Yeah, it just happened. So, but it's a terrific band, and we've played a lot of shows this summer. We've probably played 30 shows this year. For us, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
For a local band. We've been kind of playing in different venues, some park gigs, which was really fun with the little kids. And then all the way to the theater in Red Wing, the Sheldon, which is this beautiful historic theater. And now we're at the Turf and the Caboose, and just kind of making
fancy to fancy
and fancier.
Yeah. Should we play some music?
Yeah.
Would you like to play something for XTC? Would you like to play Faith? Would you like to play?
Why don't you pull up one of Faith's songs? Okay. Let me think. What would be something that would be fun? Because I know that there's a few songs that got played a lot on a competing radio station. I don't know if
it's not competing.
They're not competing. Yeah. No.
Well,
let's see. Boy, I don't even know. I'll let you pick. Pick something random.
If I'm doing this correctly.
One. Some technical difficulties. Let me see.
I think the people at home want to see some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I'm just going to show that right there.
Such a jerk.
Perfect. What we might need to do, because I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
No problem.
Everybody likes to do tech stuff when it's.
I'm here to help.
Yeah.
That's what I said. That's how I got in. Yep.
Yes.
I'm here to help.
Thank you.
Your phone buzzed. Somebody must have liked that.
I think. Yeah, I think it was Ryan Sexton. So that's good. Let's see if we can do it now.
It might have been in your playlist there.
Yeah, we're just trying to.
Well, it's all good. There's other. Oh.
You know what we're gonna do? Let's play one of the ones that's from the flash drive.
Yeah,
and then
we
we'll
can
play
do that.
One from Faith afterwards.
Yeah,
I'll figure out the tech stuff.
I don't know how much time we have here.
Probably. Oh, we've got 15-20 minutes.
Okay.
So what would you like?
Why don't you play Faith doing Census Working Overtime?
Oh, awesome. Here we go.
Instead of solo.
Okay.
This was the first one we did.
Of course, in your honor, I was listening to some of the XTC, and I'm trying to remember which ones I can name. And I forgot how much I loved the Mayor of Simpleton back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to be the girl in that video so bad.
With the boots and the kind of
the cat suit.
Yep.
Just me, who has worn a dress most of my life. I was like, I was going to wear that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to eat for 3 weeks. She looked like Emma Peel, but I don't think it was.
Peel.
Was it Emma Peel?
I know, but it
looked like Emma Peel. Yeah.
Supposed to look like
that
her,
was
that was the look, the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all these. Sorry.
You okay?
Oh. Tried to pull my chair in, sticking the legs out to kill it. I brought 2 jump drives because I just didn't know. I was all prepared. Did Ann tell you that? Did Ann tell you about? I was like on my way here on Thursday, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm coming down." She called me. Were we supposed to meet? I'm like, I thought so, but it's to her credit. It says Sunday, October 10th. So the day was right, but the date was wrong, and I didn't even look at the date until I got home. And I'm like, oh, it says Sunday. I should figure that out. But
you're like, you're when you have different places to be all the time.
Yeah.
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 You're like, I just look at the number, not the day.
Well, when I booked this, I was in the middle of 4 gigs in 3 days and just panicked because I had to do all the prep work. Going into playing, I ended up playing with Nick Sterling and the Stud Brothers, which is like a big R&B horn band, and I had to learn a whole bunch of stuff, and that's not stuff that I normally. Like, I'm not versed in R&B. I love it, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know every deep Sam and Dave cut. And there were a couple of those, but a lot of it was original music that he produced over the years. And I'm listening to all these, it was Billy Franzi on bass, and he just this Charles Fletcher, all these really kind of, not mentor types, but people that I really looked up to kind of walk into that gig. I wanted it to be perfect.
Prepared, yeah.
And not have the horn guys, they're like the mafia.
Not letting you in?
Yeah. They let me in because I did okay. I played well, but yeah, it was funny. I walk out and they're all out there in their suits, smoking cigarettes and having cocktails outside the bar, and we were up at Crooners, and I just looked at them. I'm like, it reminded me. Did you ever watch The Sopranos? How they used to sit outside the little deli,
yep,
and have the whole court. That was them, and they're talking to everybody that walked by, throwing shade. The mafia, man.
Since you play with so many different, is there something that you're more just ease or comfortable or feels like?
Yeah, I'm really at ease playing rock, and I've gotten very comfortable with like kind of Americana, kind of a blend of rock, soul, jazz. I'm not a jazz guy. I'm not a. There's Pat Nelson, who's a bass player in town now. He's younger than I am, but I've met him now. He's been kind of first call here, but he and I talk about this because there's so many bass players that can just play a million notes, but they don't know how to be a bass player in a band and how to listen. And I think that is the biggest skill of all. That's the thing I do best, is being able to hang and go, okay, we're going there, kind of thing. That's a strength of mine because I've been in so many playing situations in my life, some that I was not qualified to do, but kind of held my own.
Yep.
I knew I was going to be okay with all this new stuff that I'm doing. I played, I think, 4 or 5 dates with Hookers and Blow. And that's a really hard band. They would hire bass players to sub, and if you didn't get called back, and I know about 15 bass players that didn't get called back, I'm like, these are all people I really respect. I'm like, well, how hard is the gig?
Yeah.
And then they sent me like 50 songs, of which we did maybe 20.
Oh.
And then there were 20 others that we did that I wasn't prepared for, but just kind of
ride in the wave.
Hang in there, ride the wave, yeah.
Again.
And so when I do this live band karaoke thing, it's like so fun because it's like I feel alive doing that. It's like we're all listening to our phones. Anyway.
Senses Working Overtime by Faith Boblett. We are lucky enough to have Paul Boblett.
Appreciate you having me today.
Yes.
It's been very fun so far.
Well, and we're here to tell us specifically about the XTC show. So just for folks who have just tuned in, why don't you remind us of that?
We are doing our 9th annual, it's called Census Working Over, SWO 9, and that is on Thursday, October 24th at the Parkway Theater. Our annual, we've had 3 years off. Is it still annual?
Yeah,
what do we call it?
Because the time off was COVID.
That was just lost time.
That was required. Yeah, that time doesn't exist.
Yeah, so we did 2019 and then 2023, but this is our 9th event that we've done, and it's a star-studded cast about the best band in the world, honestly, that I've ever played with. This level of musicianship in this band is ridiculous. And I'm so grateful for them because they really bring it to life. And it's not easy. The amount of work that goes into preparing these songs just for rehearsal alone is huge. And so the core band, Matt Kirkwald and Seth Doohan and Walter Powell, Ken Chastain, Faith Boblett, Rob Meany this year, and Dave Foley this year. He's new on horn. Did I get everybody? Tom Scott.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Yeah, Tom Scott's playing keyboards this year, and Dave and Jenny Russ are singing backups along with Faith and Ken. So, yeah.
Great.
How was that?
That was perfect. We probably have time for another song. Do you want us to play another one?
Yeah, let's play the other one. This will be. You're going to play something.
Yeah, we can play.
Yeah.
Either.
Yeah. What'd you find? I'm curious.
I was going to play Michelle because I like the story behind it.
It's pretty great.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
okay.
Of course. Whatever you want.
You gave us permission, so.
Okay,
whatever you want. I like that one too.
Do you want to tell the story before we play it?
Well, I can. Yeah, I'll tell my perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Faith,
Faith was with this guy. I'm not gonna say name.
We did not use adjectives. Yeah.
I'll leave that to her. And it's funny because the last couple of shows, she's basically doxed them on from stage. But it's going. This song's about insert name here.
Yeah.
And what a terrible deal all that was. So Faith was with this guy for some years and became very close to his family, as that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I became very fond of Joanne's parents, and actually had her dad longer than I had my own dad. So that was, I
Nice.
look back on that, and I'm very appreciative of that. But this is a song to her mom, to his mom. Michelle, her name is, and they became good buddies, and I don't think they stay in contact now, but they were doing yoga together and things like that. It was,
hard when that.
It was hard. The breakup caused more collateral damage.
Yeah.
Because you like somebody, you want to hang out, but you can't after a while. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Michelle by Faith Boblett.
I haven't heard this. We haven't played this live in forever.
I know. I love the
Yeah. So when we were at the Sheldon, she did this whole like an anthology of these guys. Starting in high school, all the way through like the last one, and it was like song after song after song. I'm looking at her. I'm like, "Are you okay?" She is okay. She's very happy being single. And
last time I saw her, she was very. I am woman, hear me roar. Yeah, it seemed great.
Yeah, she after the last breakup, it was like she goes, "I'm done," and I said, "Good," and she's just embraced it, and her sister too had embraced it, and now she's back looking. So it's all good. Whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
And Faith's grieving. The kids are all grieving still. So it's she.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot.
I think she's trying to give herself enough space.
Yeah.
And through all this, because it's been a lot for all of us. And maybe the last 6 months less for me. I'm just flying at a different altitude with my grief than they are. Because I lived there. I was caregiver. Yeah. And I watched the whole thing and did what I could do to help and caregive. And the kids were, they'd come home to see mom. And they'd be there for 3 or 4 days, maybe 2. And then they'd be gone. Yeah. Back to their lives. Yeah. So I think it's harder for them seeing me like I'm selling the house, I've closed the business, I'm doing all this stuff. And then I had to put a dog down because he bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was the sixth time that he'd bitten somebody, and I can't could not have a dog run my life that bites.
Right.
So Kendra's like, you killed my dog.
Oh. But it's a lot of
I got
loss.
thick skin.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful I do.
I'm glad you do.
I'm really glad I do.
Like, oh, man.
Yeah, I feel for her. She understands, but it doesn't make it hurt go away.
Less.
Yeah.
Hard.
Well, right.
Oh.
Think about you often. I have 3 daughters. I mean, you get thick skin. You can't, and we'll take a punch from a kid,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A literal one, but.
Yeah, absolutely. I.
If that helps them.
I had to they all showed up too late to see their mom.
Oh.
They were all coming home, and I made them all cry. I had 3 of them right in a row. It was like with a 20-minute break. Anyway. Yeah.
And some people are listening online, and some people are listening on the radio. We've just stopped a very serious conversation in here with Paul Boblett talking about. Well, transitioned into say you've had a lot of changes in the last year. One of them being moving to
Minneapolis.
I will let
St.
you do
Paul,
what you want with that.
Well, I'll just say after a very long illness, I lost my wife of my partner of 40 years, and we met in a band. We traveled all over. We were young. We lived. We had no responsibility for a long time. We ended up out in Boston for about 7-8 years, and then moved back here, got married, settled down, had kids, and then lived in the city for a while, but moved up north. But she passed in December, and after a very long, courageous battle with cancer. And so yeah, I'm back to this is where I grew up, Western Burbs in Minneapolis.
Nice.
And so it's nice to be back here. My side note, my kids all live here. My granddaughter, I'm 8 minutes from my granddaughter, but
perfect.
My siblings have all kind of reconvened here as well, except for one.
Okay.
So my sister is coming next week from New York City to live here in Minneapolis.
Oh,
and
wow.
my brother John and his wife Mary. John played trombone in the band The Wolverines.
Okay.
He played Carter's inauguration. We're just saying
That's
how old he is. He's old. He's really old, and I hope he listens to this because I'm digging on him a little bit.
We'll get that snipped for you right there.
But he and his wife of many years moved back here from Portland, Oregon, and to be closer to family. So I've still got a brother in New Mexico.
Okay. You need somebody
away.
Weather for the winter.
Yeah. Well, it's somewhat warmer there.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of rain and a lot of wind.
True.
We live in Silver City. I did a big trip in coast to coast trip, and spent 3-4 days with them down in Silver City, New Mexico, and I would go back in a heartbeat. It's so beautiful. Nice. A very vibrant arts community. To juxtapose that against like Keene, New Hampshire, I have one of Joanne's very good friends, and my very good friend lives there now. And I went there, and it was the same thing. It was this very vibrant arts.
Nice.
Super supportive of the arts, and it being East Coast, a lot more history there. Country's oldest newspaper is there.
Ooh, wow.
The Keene Sentinel.
Well, and for folks who don't know, tell us why that might be of a special interest to you.
My wife and I owned and operated a weekly newspaper for 20 years in Cross Lake.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it was a whole big thing. There's a lot to me. I'm kind of an onion in a way.
I think that.
And some layers are spoiled, and other layers are pretty in pretty good shape still. So.
Some probably still green.
Yeah. Well, yes. The music one is very green, and I'm thrilled to be around my family and friends, and such a terrific arts community here in the Twin Cities and all of Minnesota. Actually, mostly Minnesota. It is mostly Minnesota, and I realized that when I lived up north, being so close to the Rife Center in Grand Rapids and the Chalberg Theater in Brainerd, we were able to see Minneapolis, St. Paul bands, local regional bands come through a lot, and international. We saw Ladysmith Black Mambazo. We took the kids; they were really little.
Nice.
To the Rife Center, 400 seats. It was like, why are they coming here? And now Grand Rapids has become a mecca. Yes. We've got these big shows that come through there now. Once the big Riverfest is a phenomenal
and I will give a nod to the Blandon Foundation for a lot of that work.
Yeah, true.
And they're great to work for. Just fitting that in for no reason.
I've done some Blandon. We did the editor publisher.
Fantastic.
Trying to think of what it was called. It was it wasn't a seminar, but it was like a weekend long thing, and it was pretty terrific.
But it's fantastic to see how that can bloom in a community.
Yeah.
What a difference it makes.
And there's all these really amazing theaters all across the state. They're just scattered about everywhere. You drive through, like Staples has got a really beautiful theater. It's like they get, it's like, what it's Staples. What's there? Well, it's all ag.
Yep.
But there's these amazing things going on, and Five Wings Arts is great, and the arts funding is, thank God for legacy.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
I hope it gets re-upped. I'm concerned that it's not going to get re-upped because we're in such a weird place. I'll just leave that there too.
Well, and how can we make a difference to make it a better place?
Yeah.
That's my softball to you is vote.
Vote. Absolutely. Absolutely. Vote.
I'm looking at the clock on the wall. I'm just going to give you that softball. Yeah.
Vote. No.
Yeah, they
Exercise your right.
Yeah.
Talk to your legislators, and all politics are local. That's, I think, the biggest thing that I realized in owning a newspaper and covering city council meetings and county board meetings, hearings, and all the things is all politics are local. And I think that's very important for people to realize, that they really need to understand when you look at a ballot and you see a judge down ballot and you don't know. But I was reading this morning, there's some pretty lousy people that are running with an agenda. And for a nonpartisan position to have an agenda, we're seeing it on school boards. And it's really troubling to see. I know some of these people up north that are running, and I wouldn't let them coach my kid in sports. And they're going to decide curriculum and hand count ballots.
Yeah,
that's a whole other thing that I'm seeing, and it's all a big play to get voter rolls and to see who's doing what, and to gum up the works because they didn't like the way an election turned out. Yeah, and so tactical militia, what's it called, tactical civics. There's groups all over the country that are springing up, and it's really troubling. A
lot of them in the school boards.
Yeah, the school boards, that's kind of the first step, because they think that your kid can go to school as one gender and they're going to come home as another in the same day. I mean, that's the stuff that they're eating the pets. You know, I mean, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
They're not. They're not putting litter boxes in schools.
No, exactly. That was another. You're like, oh.
I actually had a nurse tell me that once.
Wow.
And I said, no, they're not. No. And she said, well, my cousin told me. Great source, bro. Yeah. That's all I can say. Great source, bro. Yeah. Anyway. What do you say? I just don't even know what to say.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I think I told my cousin that Rod Carew was our uncle on the other side. So your cousins say a lot of stuff that are not. For folks who don't know what I look like, not Rod Carew.
Not Rod Carew. Nope.
Not Rod Carew.
Not Rod Carew.
Yes.
I saw him steal home. He stole home 7 times in 1 year.
He was so good.
He was my favorite twin. And for a long time. And Cesar Tovar. And Tony Oliva. And Bob Allison. And Harmon Killebrew. Anyway, yeah. Let's go Twins.
Exactly. Twins. I'm looking at the clock. And because it's almost 4.
Yeah.
Tell folks thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me again.
And what the thank you would be is give the information.
So the information is Thursday, October 24th. You're going to be at the Parkway Theater. You need to be at the Parkway Theater for this it's a very special event. We bring a lot of joy. We play some really crazy music, terrific singers, terrific band. We raise money for women who are undergoing cancer treatments, and that's about all I got for that one.
That's good.
And then I'll throw in Zeppo at the Green Room on this week, Friday night, and Faith Boblett at the Turf Club opening with we're playing with Run Westy Run on the 2nd of November. And I got a church gig on the 27th out in Wayzata.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you very much.
And what are we going to listen to?
We got Matt Keflish with Max Eddy.
I like Max.
Mm-hmm.
Matt.